Oh, I think someone is from here. Oh, thank you, Emma. So is Ronald here already?
Ronald is logging in.
Okay, perfect then. We can wait. When he comes, he can start immediately.
Okay. Oh, where is the link? Eh? Yes, Vedran. Vedran. Vedran.
Yeah, can you hear me?
I'm hearing you now. It's actually, I don't know what happened because we have been having these sessions 1300 that side, and then this side is 1500. But for us, it is now 1400. There was an issue with time there. I don't know what
Sorry,
happened.
what do
Whether,
you mean? What do you mean?
like, in most cases, uh, on your side, it is normally 1300, and then for us here, it is 1500, like the 2 hours difference.
I think because
I'm
such
not,
in Uganda, like, do you have this clock change?
pardon?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, Vedran, I wasn't
Yeah.
getting you.
No, I think it happened because
And now we can have, yeah, I think that in the middle of your speech, you have some interruption for the connection. So we couldn't have hear the middle part when you're talking, only the beginning and the ending.
Ronald is here, the educator is here, so we can begin.
yeah. Oh, yeah, Ronald is here. Yeah, we can start if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Then since we are already 30 minutes into session, like kind of lost the 30 minutes, so Ronald can start immediately, then we can do the conclusion part in the end.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. You are welcome to this other session. Today is going to be a nice session for us. I'm sorry there has been an issue with the time zones, but I'm expected to be here by 15 hours, which is now earlier than expected. However, because you are here, we can start. Okay, so share my slides. Let me get the permission to share my slides. Okay. Okay. I hope you can see my slides.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So today we are going to look at methodologies in digital projects. I can see some minutes have already gone. Sorry for that inconvenience, but last time we were talking about the principles, and I've received some communication from some of you about needing to do much of the discussion in the last presentation, but we shall find time again, God willing, after, I don't know how we shall manage it, but for now, we are going to proceed to the next chapter, where next time you remember we talked about the different principles that we're supposed to look at, and I gave you a scenario when you are given a work to do, you are given a project, and I asked you, where should you start from? Where should you concentrate from? On which principle was the best? For sure, we all agreed that there is no most important principle, as we see those ones being the clear principles, finance, issues of budgeting, costing, time. They are all equally critical, but there is no principle which is more important than the other. So we should put that one into perception that all principles that is in project management, they're equally critical. I mean, they're equally critical, but no principle is more important than the other. Okay, so basing on that background, we are going to look at the methodologies that we can use, we can apply during working with the youth projects. We are saying, you remember, in one of the concepts in the youth, we are saying that we don't need to chase them away because of the technology, because of this other formal way of doing things. We just need to have these principles, these methodologies to enhance their working environment so that we can see them participate, engage, and be able to be productive. So starting from now, we are going to look at we are going to into a group. I would request that you change, Emma changes these people to old Zoom rooms. And we have this question here. I don't know whether I've seen this question. It's just a sample question for us to see that your university or your institution is implementing a new enterprise resource planning system across all campuses. And we are saying that in this time, they are changing requirements. Requirements are changing regularly. A number of things are changing oftenly. So in our groups, we're going to discuss which methodology should we use and why. I would like to see members in your groups, which are going to be created now, in your rooms, to discuss in 10 minutes. Actually, we shall have to remove to reduce on the time. But basically 10 minutes to see what should we do, which methodology should we apply on our projects. Are we there? Are we in the rooms? Okay. We are going to the rooms, and we should be able to see that we agree on one project, similar to what I've given. This is just an example, but can be a project of your choice. And if just changing requirements, what methodology are you going to use? I'm readily informed that you've been reading the notes, the online information clearly, and all of you are there, and you've been doing a lot of work and reading.
May I ask you something before I join the breakout room?
Please do.
So we should revise this question as we are part of like a campus, and the university keeps changing the requirements, so it's difficult for us to actually implement this system, or we are part of the... Yep.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. There's a new system coming into your institution, which you want to implement across the campuses, but they are changing requirements at every point of time. How do you implement that one? Which methodology do you adopt, and why?
Thank you.
Welcome. So we 18 minutes past. Within 25, we should be out of our rooms and be to discuss this one clearly. Those who are able to discuss as we are continuing, please do. We want to hear what is going on, whether you're agreeing to disagree or you agree to agree. Yes, I can see room 4 people active there. Room 3. I don't know whether Fadina is the project manager there. I don't know. I'll pause. Who is the project manager? We shall be hearing from you people. I can see Primena, please do. you back. Let me welcome you back all from our rooms. Now we wanted to share before we dive into the details. Can I have members that you've chosen in your groups, in your rooms, to say something? Can we start with maybe room 1?
Sure. I'll try to summarize quickly. So what we agreed on is that for this kind of problem, because the requirements keep changing, a water flow structure is not good because it's just too rigid. So we've agreed on a sort of a hybrid approach between Agile and Scrum, because it's mainly also a digital project, which both are good for it. And also it allows, especially Scrum allows for quick sprints, and then also an iterative process, which means that there are more and more problems and there are more and more requirements, which means there needs to be quick change. And these quick changes can be done within sprints. Different teams could work on different aspects of the ERP. Basically, that's our answer.
Thank you. Next. Room
Can I
2.
talk for group 2? Do I have
Yes,
your
please.
permission, group 2?
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yes, Marina.
So we choose Agile because requirements are constantly evolving and it provides flexibility, supports feedback, which is essential for a complex project, like implementing the system across multiple campuses.
Okay. Next, group 3. Is it?
Hi, everyone. I represent Group 3. So, based on our discussion, we also agree with what Mark and Marina said. But we also narrowed down to Scrum and a hybrid model because part of the theory in the module also wrote that Agile is mostly for innovative product development and innovation strategies, but a Scrum would offer more digital product management frameworks. But we weren't sure, since we didn't have enough information to decide whether a hybrid model is even better. I think we narrowed it down to Scrum for now.
Thank you. Do you have another group waiting, another room? Anyone that has not said anything? Do you have only 3 rooms?
Well, I don't actually remember the number of the room I was in, but basically we had the same ideas as the previous rooms, that we were thinking about the hybrid project management of the software and enterprise resources planning may be a bit challenging, but I agree with the previous speaker that we also need to have a little bit more details to say exactly what strategy would fit the best. But yet it's either agile or hybrid.
Okay. Agile or hybrid. That is nice. So are we all done? I don't remember the groups. There were around 5. So do we have one remaining? Okay. That means there is no any other group that took time to discuss with us. So we want to go and dissect this one very well and see what happens. There are a number of groups, yes, and a number of, I would say, is it my screen shared? Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Let me share again, and so that we are able to move at the same page. Hope it's shared now. Yes. Okay, so In that case, I'm so happy to see that people really had a very serious discussion within your rooms in a very short time. And we are going to look at these major 4 principles or major 4 methodologies. We'll talk about agile, we're going to talk about all those ones. But what is important here, that digital projects, what you're getting from this conversation is that digital projects require the structured way of doing the projects, but the structure should not be organized in a way that it limits the youth from operating. How is it going to be structured? We are saying that the projects need organizations, and organizations have different requirements. So why do you have the structures that this project should be well structured? We are saying that we should have a guiding framework that we are going to use in planning and implementation. We shall be looking at how do we achieve this by choosing the successful programming methodology that we are going to use. How should we choose the right methodology? And that methodology should be able to influence how we can operate within our projects. So, and the end of it all, we should see that this framework should be user-friendly. They should not be too rigid. They should not force youth from not operating the way they have been operating, but we should be able to guide us to work smoothly and within a straight way. So one of the methodologies which we are going to discuss today is the waterfall. And at the end of this all, we are going to agree which one, according to what you chose, is right and is appropriate at which point of time, because all the methodologies can be applied depending on the different projects. So with the waterfall, which we talk about a linear approach, in this way, we are supposed to move stage by stage. This approach is a traditional one, and we will not move sequentially from one stage to another. We should look at, remember in projects, we look at requirement definition from the initial stage. You define the scope, you look at the goals, and then you look at the scope, the stakeholders definition, stakeholders selection, you look at planning and designing, who is supposed to do what. That's when we do the number of tools. We need to have Gantt charts, you need to do project flow diagrams, we need to do ERD diagrams to make a blueprint of what actually the system is going to look like. Then from that point, you do see that people go from that, when they gather all that information, they go to the implementation stage where they develop prototypes. They want people to share the platforms and test them out and see how the projects are moving after testing them in terms of maybe unit testing, we test the whole system. We can test also in terms of what has been completed. So from that point, then we go to the last bit. We'll talk about how do we now hand over the project. Is it really working? Is it really, have we checked all the bugs? There's nothing that's remaining and well documented. So this is what the waterfall approach looks at, that we should move step by step. We should not have anything left out. If you leave one stage, you're not expected to go back to that stage. So that means there are a number of challenges. You will find that in many cases, if you use this framework, you should be well conversant with the system, the project you are going to handle, the type of software you are going to use. The developers should be very, very, very professional and on time. They should be experienced. They should have been exposed to such projects very many times. These projects can happen like in the government projects, where we have strictive measures that it is well documented that this is what's supposed to happen from time A up to time X. And in that time, even the payments are done in terms of percentages, looking at what are the deliverables, what you have done as requested, as required in the project plan, the project document that you signed, or in the contract, in other words. So in this case, we are saying that changes are difficult once the project has gone to another level. We cannot gain changes in the previous stage. You should have a clear and stable structure where we have all the information with us before we move another stage. Before we say, yes, we are done with this stage, we should make sure that everything is well tested and we cannot go back that stage. So we move forward. We don't retreat, we only advance, okay? So the advantage with this one that you predict when to finish the project. That's another good thing. That time is an issue which we always talk about in projects, that time and budget, they are critical factors in project management. So when we are using a waterfall, we are very sure we shall finish on the right time. Otherwise, it will give indicative measures if we are not moving on the right time. Okay, so we are saying this is just a real world example where you talk about youth organizations developing an online training course, just like Don we've shared. Are you together? We say the strength here is that there should be a clear structure. It is sometimes linked to the government requirements. If it is a grant, yes, they prescribe what's supposed to be done and at what period of time and how much is supposed to be paid at that point of time. So there is easy budgeting because everything is clearly bundled according to the stages that has been done. So in that case, we are saying agile, many of you, it is an adaptive mindset methodology. This one is iterative. It allows to go through back and forth the cycles. You can work in small circles, you can work in small groups, and it's based on feedback. Whatever you do is based on feedback. It's very common that there's continuous improvement when you are using the agile methodology. It embraces change at any time. That's why I'm hearing many people saying, because there's a lot of changes as one of the strengths that are attached in this project in the case study. So agile would be, I think, at the moment we shall argue at the last minute, but we say it embraces changes at every point of time that you feel there's something needed to be improved, something was forgotten, or something was missed out. Then you can bring it back, and then because this agile thing really allows us to do a lot of improvement within our project. So, like the philosophers say, that collaboration over rigged planning is not something very good. Okay, so when you are collaborating, there should be flexibility. Feedback over assumption, yes, this agile thing is adopted because the more we get feedback, the more we can improve on our projects, and we can say there's no restrictive adherence as compared to the waterfall. Okay, so in the agile world, I just gave an example, which we will see in the presentation, where we talk about people developing, I would say, mobile platforms that they need to be worked on quickly. People want to see, you have someone with a project that wants to see the output as early as possible before anything goes, so that you are actually activating his appetite to see how the project will look like. You develop a prototype. In Agile, it will do a lot of quick work, and then you show the structure, the framework, how it's looking like, to appetize the sponsor or the owner of the project before the launch is done. So in that case, with the youth developing a digital platform, you can launch a basic version, yes, like a prototype. Then from there, you start gathering feedback. Is this what you think? Is it going to look nice in terms of colors? Ladies prefer colors. Some people look at the logos, the branding, and then the interface layout. Is it user-friendly? Are we putting a lot of complexity in our project? And then you gradually improve stage by stage. So in this case, we are saying that the core objective or the core principles of collaboration with the planning, they work better with this version. Feedback that yes, with Agile, perfect, you're in the right time. However, if you don't have good communicators, it is a very big limitation. We need to communicate every point in very many ways. As we said in the previous lessons, you should feel that you communicate every point of time so that we move on the same page. Otherwise, if you lose out on communication, it is going to be dangerous. But this methodology encourages participation within the members, within the youth. it supports innovation, it reduces the large risk that can happen at the end of time if you don't really calculate your time very well. Okay, so any question before we go to another small discussion? Mr. Emma, can you take us in the groups again? We troubleshoot on this one, then we sum it up and agree. Any communication in the meantime? Yes, I can see in the chat room. Someone is, I don't remember the name of the group. Okay, hey, I have, some people have got connection issues. Hope members, you are back the main session. I saw one of the rooms with only 2 people. I don't know what happened, but okay. Yes, can we have a discussion about this? Room 1. Room 2. Anyone who is ready, please.
Okay, room 2. Can I do it this time?
Please.
Yes, Carmina.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So we chose for the first fintech project to use the agile methodology because we think this is something very innovative, and it needs a very flexible approach. Also, some testings and beta releases to be given to some specific audiences. So we think this is very applicable for agile methodology to be used. And for the government system project, as we discussed, governments usually are very, very structured. So I think we should go with a waterfall type of methodology because also the type of like stuff they do should be very structured on time, and it's serious stuff that cannot be very flexible. They need to have more structure in them.
Thank you. Very good observation. Next team.
Hi, so for the group 3, the same answers. So for the first fintech mobile money application, because it's an innovation component, it would be an agile methodology. And in government system project, as previously mentioned as well, this would be a waterfall methodology, just because also most of the government tenders and so on, they expect you to build the project on a waterfall based methodology, and the testing and everything would be just phases of this of the projects. So it would be a very traditional waterfall methodology.
Wow, thank you for that observation. Next team.
Roland, sorry, I'm not sure, maybe you jumped group 1 or whether we're not back. So in the group 1, Mark and I were in the group, so we also have the same answers. For the first one, for the fintech, we feel because of innovation, there needs to be flexibility, and the agile would give you that. But for the second one, the government system project, because of structure and because of results, everything has to go from step by step. The waterfall, which is the linear approach, fits into that approach. Thank you.
Welcome. Is there any other one? Because there were 5. I cannot now. Those are 3 presenters.
Yeah, I can speak up for group 4 actually, and basically we had the same answers that for mobile applications development, it's better to apply agile systems because you can integrate like users' feedback, some bug when you're finding the bugs to work with, you can always update it quickly, so it's easier to work in these short sprints. And then for governmental systems, it's definitely better to work with like waterfall because it's like more stable, predefined, and the process is more strict, which is better aligned with the needs of the governmental systems.
Wow, thank you. I think we are in agreement. Is there anyone missing? Could it be the last one? Okay. Now, what I've realized that we are in agreement that for mobile man applications, that where there's a lot of innovation, where we need to be flexible, where the changes can happen anytime, where we need to be so innovative, we need to use the agile. Okay. And for where we have strict restrictions, very tight documents that gives us step by stage of what is required, and in terms of the stages involved, then a waterfall model that would work better for an organization, for a government, would be the way to go. So thank you so much for that, and I really respect your views. They are good and they're on point. But we have to understand that these 2 methodologies are the core ones. Okay, so we shall be looking at these other ones that come, for example, Sprotam, which is an agile framework. It is just a sub core from the agile approach. It introduces roles. What is changing from the other one? That this one goes ahead to introduce roles, short working cycles, which are called sprints, and also what we call regular review meetings. So it is just an additional module to the Agile that is going to be flexible, yes, but it's also introducing that everyone should have defined roles, and these roles, we see people developing systems in the modular format. If people have been there around and see that now these ERPs are developed in forms of modules, you can talk about application module, we talk about the admission module, we can talk about the finance module, whereby these modules, they just integrate them. We don't see systems now these days being developed as one unit. Why? Because of the technology and the issue of security. Because if one module is attacked, then you are sure the other modules will be able to operate. In the case of upgrades, in the case of pricing, people can sell you an ERP with a few modules, but as you grow your requirement, you can go on requesting for more. So that means that flexibility is there with the Agile, and it is all about having the defined roles. What's the role of the project owner, the master, the score master, the team members, those who are playing a big role in that area. So the short cycles can be depending on how fast you want to do your project. But you have to make sure that you don't mismanage time. Time is a very critical component in projects, and if you don't define your roles very well, if you don't define the scope very well, time will catch up with you. But because we have these role definitions, they help us protect the overall vision of the project, and they also help us look at the priorities. Where should we start first in any project? Because you realize that we said Agile, you can start with a prototype, and you can build that prototype into a full project. So in that case, if we have decided to go with the Agile, we should be able to prioritize which section should we start with before we go to another section, and that will enable us to achieve the overall objectives and the goals in that case. Okay, so we are very sure that those three areas are very critical, and it takes us to the hybrid model, like people talked about it, where we look at the youth can have two models working together. Are we together? We can say there's a time when we are going to have the Agile and some bit of the waterfall. Okay, in that case, what would be the reason why we do that? Because some projects may need us to be a little bit strict on some developing stages, and some areas that we need to be a little bit flexible, because we want to see that we adopt the requirements of the user. In most cases in projects, sometimes I would say, there are projects which are not so big, but people want to get money, like the youth. Someone tells you, I want a system that can help me to do sales. Are you seeing that? But in doing sales, he has not really given you the boundaries of sales. But it says, the moment you show me what any sample of the project, then it can give me a hint on how to go about it. Then such projects for the youth may need to buy or to borrow that idea of having a hybrid project, where there's some bit of complexity and in terms of knowing the requirements, and also, but you want to deliver this information or this project within the short time, the shortest time possible. So in that case, we are saying, if you're going to use a hybrid, for example, in the students or in the youth way, we can have where we have like fixed deliverables that need the waterfall area, and then those areas that they need to be adoptive to get it from certain areas. You think about the new innovation, then you can adopt what we call the Agile type of what? Methodology. Okay, so in that case, we are saying this is very, very good, a good one. You remain compliant, you can respond to changes, you can also adapt to the feedback from the owners of the project, but you can also maintain what we talk about, accountability. So these ones are the Agile, the hybrid is a combination of all the two methodologies. We would say the waterfall, which is the main one, and also the Agile, which is another methodology. I want to give like 1 minute if you have any question before we go to the question, why should we choose? What do we base on choosing the methodology? Any question available? Okay, if there's no question, we are saying, how do we choose a right methodology? Okay, when you're dealing with our projects. One of them, we look at what we call the project size. How big is your project? Is it a local project? What do you need to do with that project? If a project is a little bit big and complex, in most cases, we need to use what we call a waterfall methodology. Why? Because it gives us a clear flow of how we are going to move from one point to another and the guidelines that are given by the sponsor or the project owner. Very, very complex projects are not good, are not manageable if we apply Agile, because it will take a lot of time, and before you know it, we may go into what we call scope creep. We shall go beyond the boundaries. The long distance projects that are remote projects are together. Structured frameworks, structured projects need to see that bigger projects, we use strict methodologies. Smaller projects which are innovative, we can go with the Agile and all that. When we look at, we also need to look at the goal of that project. And here we are saying that consciously design how the project moves from the idea to the impact. Those projects that need us to be very strict, very critical on achieving their own goals, we have to be very conscious. How do we start on it and how do we end? That means innovative projects which are very simple. A mobile app, maybe for a small business, yes, you can go Agile, I say, because the objective may be to sell and get customers online, to expand business. But there are times when we are saying we are going to do into restrictive projects that may need detailed results, which are much important on the project. But if we are going to choose the rightful project, we are saying, ask yourself questions. How stable is our project environment? Is it calling for many changes? Or it is strict? Everything is well structured. Are the deliverables fixed by the funding contracts? Is the funder saying this is the only amount of money you have? Beyond this, zero. We are not in a deal. So as a project manager, you need to think better and say, okay, do I need the money? Yes, because everyone needs money. What do I do? Let me follow details. How much uncertainty exists in your digital components? The risks involved, the changes that you don't expect. You think about it. Do you have the experienced team that has worked within projects before? So all these methodologies call for these questions that we can ask ourselves, and then ask how complex is the project. Then all those answers, if they are answered right, if the project is not complex, it is manageable, it is doable in a short period of time, but it needs a lot of innovation, then you know where to go in that area. Okay? So in saying, we are saying that the core principle is that methodology should never override the youth principles. We should have that at our heart, and we are saying that we should accept these methodologies to work with us and be able to transform the youth from any angle that they are used to, and then be able to achieve their projects. Take away the digital information requires both professionalism and empathy. Okay, you should have empathy when you're doing these projects. You should be a professional. You should use some of these principles, some of these methodologies we're talking about, and we should have the youth work with this alignment, and that means we shall be able to have a successful project. Okay, any question? Because I'm seeing the time is not on our side, but we are going to do some simple online assessment. Okay, let me try to share with you. If there's any question, someone can say it as I'm changing it to, as I'm trying to change to scrollative, and we see what we can do to assess us of what we've seen in these two areas. But for sure, project management, we need to find a way that we can incorporate all these principles that we talked about last week, and the methodologies. Majorly, they are major four, but two are the core ones, okay? Whereby we always need to see that we don't lose out depending on the characteristics or the features that are involved within that project. Relative. Okay, we're going to we are going to log into Scratch so that we are able to have a few things done. Okay, we're here. So for answers, so for back, launch. So I'm going to share. Are we able to see?
Not yet. Now
Not
we
yet?
do. Now we do.
Okay. Can we log in there? And as usual, it will just wait 5 minutes, 3 minutes actually.
It seems like I
Because
cannot scan the QR code because of the message. Thanks for trying our new AI assistant, which is there. If possible to close that, it would be perfect.
I did not get you clear.
So Ronald, this message, if you can see from Matthias, like it's literally above the, I mean, it's hiding the QR code. So can you just remove it? Yes, that one.
Okay.
Yes, now perfect.
Thank you.
Welcome. You can we can use the link in the chat. We have 1 minute to go. Okay, thank you, well done. The results show that you've really read a lot, and I hand you over to the coordinators.
Thank you so much, Ronald, for this insightful and very interesting session today. What I noticed is that so many people joined last 5-10 minutes. Like from 35, a lot of people had this our issue change, whatever. I just want to say this was not in our power, like not in our control. So I hope you all guys you understand that. I feel bad. Second, and we will me well because you had the you actually wanted to join. So Valentina, yes, no, because our change on Sunday, so we actually started on the right time. But I think for everyone who lives on different time zones, this confusion happened. So as long as we have you on attendance sheet, I think me together with my DigiSkill partners, we will count this as your arrival. But next session, we need to take care of this. I think I will mention that on the email just to be sure that, please, when it's always 1 p.m. Central European time, you can always check on Google. I guess that's like automatically shows you. That's how I always do. And then I hope next session we will all be here exactly in 1 p.m. Central European time. Yes, I now feel bad. As you can see, more than 20 people joined the last 5 minutes, but as long as you're here, last 5 minutes, for me, what matters is that actually you had this wish to join, so we will not count this as absence for you. But please, next session, let's try to be all here at 1 p.m. Central European time. And also, next session is the last one. I just want to mention this. It's actually a very important one because on the next session, I will share with you a post-survey link. And based on that post-survey link, we will proceed to certificates. Because if you don't fulfill this survey, we most likely will not be on the team on this official list for certificates. Because based on that, we are going to be moving to our online system. I'll be checking who enroll modules. Then from that, we are moving to attendance sheet. So please, next session, it's going to be also 60 minutes. It's our last one. If you can join, and of course, because we are going to share this post survey, that will be very helpful for you. Uh, uh, Actually, like we are already finishing this training course. It's like started yesterday. That's how I feel. Again, I feel so sorry for this time confusion, but please next time, which is next Thursday, let's try to all join in together. And also, please, for all 60 participants here, next session is very important if you want certificate because I'm gonna be sharing post-survey link and you need to all fulfill it, okay? Again, I'm so sorry for this time confusion, but I hope next Thursday everything is going to be okay. Thank you so much for coming, and yeah, wish you a beautiful day and upcoming.
Thank you.